Okay, I'm going to do a video on housing my corn snakes. I had 5 corn snakes initially, raised them from hatchlings, a snow corn, a creamsicle corn, 2 ghost corns, and a jungle corn, which is a California king corn, or a California king snake, and a common corn cross, which I housed all together, which didn't have a problem because I always fed them in the shoe box size containers separately, so there's never an issue with that, and they did very well. However, they started breeding before I was really comfortable with how big the females were as far as breeding them. So hence I have 2 clutches of eggs from 2 different females. I had gotten rid of one of my snow corns before I moved from Maine out to Tacoma, Washington. And the guy I gave the, or sold the snake to, I gave the 30-gallon aquarium that it was actually a critter cage, so it had the sliding locking lid on top. I would lay that tank on its side to give it more surface area and had it set up like that, and it worked perfectly for that. As you see Latte in the screen, I have no problems with having animals around my snakes. I want them to get used to being around them so they're not scared or defensive or anything. At the time, or at one time, I was living with my sister and my nephews who had a cat, and Mittens loved to hang out with the snakes and stuff, and since the screen was on the side and was not made to keep cats out or in, what have you, I put some plexiglass up across the front of it for the most part, just leaving enough for air, and that worked out pretty good. But looking at Brian at BHB on YouTube, great videos on there, very informative. Historic Reptiles is another great one. I love retics, and they breed a lot of retics. I learned a lot from them. Many people use 28-quart Sterlite containers, which is the container to the left, to house even adult corn snakes. Right now I'm separating the babies out into individual containers so I can see who's eating, who's shedding, what's going on. I picked these up from Walmart. They're great value. They're 24-ounce 3-cup containers with the lids that are like hinged attached for $3. I've seen on the BHB them using a soldering iron to melt holes in the side, which I used to use a drill, and it was just noisy and took time. I don't have a soldering iron, so what I decided to use was a hole punch. And for the little containers, I just used a lighter and heated up the side and poached the holes in it. For this bigger 28-quart, it was a little thicker, so I used a torch that I had, a propane torch, just like that, to heat up the tip and then punch the holes in the side. It all works. Whatever gets it done for you, what works for you. A soldering iron, I think, would be pretty neat. But what works for you works. So I put all the babies in these containers. I numbered them 1 through 7. I've got one baby that I'm waiting on hatching yet. He's got his head sticking out, but he'll come out when he's ready. And I was going to put them in with paper towel in the bottom, and get them ready to feed frozen pinkies too, so they wouldn't get the mulch. Actually, I'm using coconut core mulch to house them in, and they like to burrow in it. As soon as they hit it, they're like in it, and that'll give them just a safety factor, a comfort for themselves. So I decided to go without the paper towel for now. When I do a baby or when I go to feed, I'll just put a cap to a lid or something in there and put the thawed frozen pinky on top. So that's working pretty mint at the moment. I actually hatched these in a styrofoam cooler, submersible heater, cheap one, like 100-watt inside, set at 82 degrees. They took about 65 days. I also drove across country 4 days during that time, and they still hatched for me. So that is that. What I'm going to do now is put the rest of the eggs in one of those containers. I have another clutch of 7. I'll put in one of those containers. I'm going to put the heater in that 28 quart Sterilite and put some water in there to keep them all at a pretty even temperature. And I go to a reptile show in Portland, Oregon on Saturday, and I'll pick up a bunch of frozen feeders then and feed them off. I picked up 3 today from Petco, and I'll let them settle down for a day anyway, and then I'll try feeding them. This is actually a food service plastic container that I had gotten from someone I was living with. When I got rid of the tank to move my 4 snakes out that I had, 2 males are still in there. I picked these 2 28 quarts up at Walmart today. They were only like $5.98 a piece. This one next to it is a 35 quart, sorry, which I like because you could put the plastic shoebox size inside there with some moist mulch and a lid on it with a hole in it, so they can get in. Good for the females for breeding or laying the eggs, but $10 compared to $6, $5. So I picked up a couple of these today. I didn't do a video of the females feeding frozen feeders yesterday. These are my males. The jungle corn, which I initially was told was a female when I got him. Okay, so we'll let him go for the moment. This is Snow, my snow corn. I'll have pictures posted as well, but he's definitely a very cool snake. I named him Snow. The jungle corn was Cornelia. Annie named him. Since it's not a female, it's now Cornelius. And being the fact that he was a cross California King and corn, I wasn't sure if he was going to eat other snakes, so I got Snow as a test to see if he would eat other snakes. Snow was hands down the smallest snake that I'd ever had before. I mean, he was like definitely a hatchling when I got him, and has always eaten very well for me. Great temperament. Very happy with all my snakes. Let's get out Cornelius, who's very cool. His colorations as a baby reminded me of a Burmese python I had, and just was very reminiscent. His colors have changed as he matured. However, he rocks. He's very golden yellow. Very cool snake. Very cool. So as far as like housing them, I mean, honestly, you can keep an adult, particularly male, in the 28 quart, and that would be fine. As far as like having a moist moss box, that might be a little shallow. The 35 quart worked out really good. I'm very pleased with it. Being the fact I don't have a rack for it, I ended up putting 3 zip ties on it and 4 wing nuts on the side, so the zip ties act like a hinge and the wing nuts just keep it down taut. I never had a problem with these snakes trying to get out, but the first snake that I ever had escape on me was a corn snake. So I don't know if lessons been learned, because I've had other snakes get out since, but you know, I definitely respect their ability to escape. So You know, you don't need to go real expensive. The plastic is so much easier to clean. You don't have to worry about breaking it like in an aquarium. They don't need a whole lot of space. They'd rather have a place to hide and hang out. And you take them out, you know. Let them hang out with you and get them some exercise and you're good to go. So, till next video, see ya.